Hey guys. Okay, so we've got here a nice little sample question on linear equations. So we've got two linear equations here, and they're in two variables, the x and the y. It could be situations where there's 3 variables or 4 variables or 10 variables. But right now, let's just stick to the 2 variables. And so what we want to do is solve this, which means figure out what x is and figure out what y is. And the method we're going to use to solve that is something called elimination through addition. So we are going to eliminate a variable by doing the action of addition. And hopefully it works out, who knows? So I'm just going to go to pen here and get a fancy pen for us. Super fancy pen. Okay, so what we're going to try and do is add these two equations together. Right? Now, I want to make sure that the numbers in front of those letters, so if I'm looking at the x's, I want to make sure that the numbers are the same. They're both 1. Okay, that's good. And in front of the y's, they're both the same. They're both 1. We only need the numbers to be the same in front of either the x's or the y's. In this case, it's both. That's great. The other thing we need to make sure of is that so if we're looking at the x's, the signs are opposite. So if you can see, the first x has a negative sign and the next x has no negative sign, which means it's positive. So when we go to add a negative and a positive 1 together, we're going to end up with 0. And that's kind of the goal. So when we add these two x's together, negative x plus x gives us no more x's. Okay. If we go to add the y's together, 1y plus 1y gives us 2y. And 5 plus negative 10 gives us negative 5. So through addition, we've eliminated one of those variables. Okay, so now we just have 2y equals negative 5. So our next step would be to isolate for y. We're going to divide both sides by the number in front of y, and we end up with y equals negative 2.5. So I always like to kind of put that in a bubble or a box or something, just so that my eyes can go to it and say, okay, that's what that is, and I can feel kind of safe with that. So we figured out one of the variables there, right? We know what the y's are. Now we got to figure out what the x's are. And so we're going to do something called substitution or subbing in. And that's where we take one of the equations. It doesn't matter which equation. I'll just take the second equation or the bottom equation. But it doesn't matter. You can choose either one. And in place of y, I'm going to put in the number negative 2.5. Right? So y plus negative 2.5 equals minus 10, right? I didn't change anything else other than the y's. And because we have two signs that are next to each other, the plus and the minus, I just separated them with brackets. Okay, so I'm going to go and clean it up. A positive and a negative gives us a negative. So I have negative 2.5 x minus 2.5 equals minus 10. I'm going to join the numbers together, so that means the negative 2.5 is going to fly over the equal sign, way over there, and it's going to become positive. So x equals negative 10 plus 2.5. X equals negative 7.5. So we get like a coordinate, basically. X is negative 7.5 and y is negative 2.5. That's our coordinate. So if we were to graph these two lines, maybe I'll make a nice orange graph here. If we were to graph these two lines, one line would come like this, and the next line would come like this. And the point where those two lines intersect is going to be this negative 7.5, and negative 2.5. Now, you could check that. There's actually a really great website. If I can pull it up here. You've probably seen this website before if you did high school recently, but this is a graphing website. It's called desmos.com/calculator. And you can actually input linear equations to see where they, well, you can graph them, but then also see where they intersect. So I'm going to put in the linear equations that we had. We had negative x plus y equals 5. And then if you just click right below, you can add another equation. And that was x plus y equals negative 10. And I'm going to take my cursor and just kind of go over the point where they intersect. And that is the answer that we got, negative 7.5 and negative 2.5. So the Desmos website is a really great way of like checking your work if you wanted to. And you would just put the cursor right over that part of intersection and to see where they intersect. But there you go. That's how to solve systems of linear equations through addition. Cheers, everybody.